You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. Oh, feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
It's a faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
Who are you?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that again. Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe. Now please, get off this planet while you still have a choice.
Hey everyone, good news. Doctor Who is back. That's right, folks. We are back and we have Spyfall. That's right. Episode 1 and 2. We decided, instead of just giving you one part of it and then saying, oh, I wonder how this is going to end, we decided to, for the two-parter, we decided to do it all in one. And I think it worked out better that way. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun talking about this one. There are going to be spoilers, folks, so just be prepared. But we got new Doctor Who, folks. We got new Doctor Who.
Woo! Yay.
And we have Mr. Mike Gordon here with me.
Howdy. Happy New Who.
New Who. New Who. It feels like it's been since old Who that we've been this excited, you know? So we also have Mary Ogle.
Hi, everybody. It is fantastic to be here for New Who.
New Who. New Who. And returning to the show, we have Jenn Allen back.
Hi. Thank you for having me back. Yay for New Who.
Yay. You almost like jumped out of the email that when I sent it to you, hey, do you want to join us for this one? You were like, yes.
Of course.
So if people don't remember you, do you want to tell everyone real quick about yourself?
Yeah, I actually met the two Mikes at South Carolina Comic-Con last year. And so after that, we talked a little bit and was like, hey, you want to be on the show at some point? Because I showed up in a TARDIS outfit.
Yeah, it was kind of obvious she liked Doctor Who. I don't know why.
Just a little bit. So I've been on 2 other shows so far, and I'm glad to be here. And yeah, this is wonderful. I love being here.
Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. It's a brand new season, a brand new start, and we get a lot of brand new stuff in this one. We got tons to talk about, so we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. So please write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. With that being said, let's jump in with both feet. Spyfall.
Crisis. Big crisis. Serious crisis. Big, serious crisis. Kisses. It's quite French, that, isn't it?
Over the past week, there's been a spate of attacks on intelligence officers worldwide, of every nationality. We need your help, Doctor.
I didn't know things would get into the TARDIS like that.
Neither did I.
What have you for here, Doctor?
I don't know.
Get away from them!
Boo. I almost expected the James Bond thing to start, you know, where it used to have the white circle going across the screen and everything. And the Doctor with her sonic screwdriver. Poof. And then the beginning would start. Yeah, that would have been a little bit more interesting, at least. So, you know, initial thoughts, and we're just going to open this up to everybody. You know, we got Doctor Who back. We got Jodie back as the new Doctor. Well, she's not new anymore, but to me, she's still the new Doctor. And I think, this is just my opinion, I think they picked up with the momentum they had started with last year's New Year's special. I think they found their footing finally and started good stories and, you know, a better plot and not ignoring Doctor Who history. It was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. There were some little callbacks to last season and to past Who's. So if you hadn't watched it all, you're like, what? What's that? Wait, what was that from? Hold on, wait.
No, and I thought that was, there was a couple things with like one line here, one line there, and it was interesting to do. And Graham got confused for being the Doctor in this one. It was perfect.
Yeah, they addressed that right at the beginning.
And I'm glad they did. I'm really glad they did. I thought it was very well done, and I was happy to see, these characters and these actors more comfortable with their roles now, and everything.
And it was the Doctor took more of center stage.
Yes,
as well. She should have.
Yes, I was really glad that changed. I mean, I have really mixed feelings about this one because to me it was very uneven. There were parts of it I really liked, and there were parts of it I really did not like.
It was, and might as well just go out and say it. It was a typical Master story where he hadn't thought everything through. Mm-hmm. And we got the Master back, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I like how they did the reveal. I liked how they, how they brought the Doctor in to help with the spies. And, when they met, what was it, C, which was Stephen Fry.
C was Stephen Fry.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was great. Only he was barely in it.
Yes.
True.
More of him.
No, he got killed off just like
really
that.
Fast.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. And I just thought it was interesting to see. I loved, with one line, they got rid of Unit and Torchwood just like that.
Yeah, I know. It's like, they're not around anymore. Like, what? Wait a minute, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And I was surprised about, I wasn't surprised about Torchwood because, that went tits up pretty much. Mm-hmm. But we didn't, with the whole thing with Unit, I thought Unit was still going strong.
Apparently not.
Yep.
Yeah, apparently not.
So.
Not that they can't.
Well, it was one thing that, I happened to notice, because I'd rewatched the Dalek episode right before this one, or the premiere anyway, and seeing it, I was just kind of shaking my head because as the armed troops were going up against the Dalek, they were just acting like they've never seen this before. They had no idea what it was, and I was just like, really. Like, that's the thing that's a little frustrating with this run is that there's so much that's new that shouldn't be new. I'm going to come out and say I liked a lot of this, but I didn't love it.
Okay, no, that's totally fair, and we'll get into why.
Yeah, I think it was like Mary said, it was uneven. A lot of this weird decisions that were made in this, and there was a lot that I did like. So we'll talk about all that, but ultimately I'm I'm still kind of much in the place that I was at the end of the first season.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So this wasn't enough to pull you out of that funk. Got it.
No, it's I don't hate it. It's not like I'm like, oh, I have to watch Doctor Who. It's not that at all. But I have to say, I don't get excited watching leading up to Doctor Who as much as I'd like to.
I still felt like Chris Chibnall is trying to find himself in this one.
Yeah, well,
there were moments I thought he found himself, but then the next scene, it was like it went right down the tubes for certain things.
He still has no idea what to do with any of the companions, and even putting them all together doesn't help. Like they're awful. They're just horrible. I mean, we've had a season with them to develop them and realize the mistakes that they made with them. And this does nothing to give me any confidence that going forward, they've got it situated, because I just was like, they were borderline annoying at times and just useless in other times. Like the best thing about them is that they were useless.
Well, I kept thinking that Yaz and Ryan were going to finally start bonding, especially after the Rosa Parks episode. And that hasn't quite happened yet.
No, it went nowhere. Well, there were a lot of missed opportunities. Like when Yaz gets pulled into the alternate universe, I'm like, oh, good. Yaz is going to get to do something. Something's going to happen. Nope. She just
kind of stood there and stared at stuff.
Yep. And then magically gets pulled out to Australia. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well.
The one thing I will say that I did like was that Graham was not the center of attention.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. But, I mean, on the other hand, none of them, it just, he just blends in with the rest of them as being just a bland, useless companion.
No, exactly. It could have been.
I don't know if that's an improvement.
It literally could have been any companion at all in this.
No, they could have had no companions in this.
But he had laser shoes. Ping, ping.
There's nothing in this that if you take the companions out of this completely, there's nothing that happens in this that couldn't have happened without them. Yeah. And then that's not good storytelling. That's not good character development at all. I like the Doctor having her own arc, but I mean, if you need the Doctor to go on and do her own thing and just have an adventure that way, and then, oh, by the way, the companions are doing their own thing and it's just not nearly as interesting, and that just actually highlights the problem more than helps solve it. So, they've still got a lot of convincing for me in order to really fall in love with this dynamic.
Mm. Well, also when they brought in Ada and Noor,
I was like, those two were awesome.
Yeah. How cool that we made we've got two new characters that are better companions than the three that we've got.
That's what it felt like. I mean, it felt like they were pseudo companions.
Yeah. They were, and they're real people. Well,
and they show up, and what's her name is like, are we being replaced? And I'm like, yes, you are.
Yes.
Please. They were. Yes. I mean, especially since they're real people. Well, they're based on real people. I mean, Ada Lovelace is the daughter of Lord Byron, who ended up being one of the creators of the computer because she was really good with mathematics and she helped Charles Babbage. That was real. Noor Khan was a British spy in France. That is real. Unfortunately, she died in 1944. She was captured and assassinated. But she was given a British medal posthumously for her efforts, and I have to say the Brits would have been in a bad place without her.
Oh, very much so.
I think it was great bringing them in and finding an inventive way to bring them in, to spotlight these characters that these historical figures that don't get a lot of attention. I give them. That's one of the things I liked about the story. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I liked about the story. I like the premise of the story. I like the idea that the spy genre, the spy stories, in particular, James Bond has been a franchise that's been going on just as long as Doctor Who,
longer,
if not just
actually.
a tad longer. And the fact that finally we get to see this kind of combination of the two, and I'm like, I just felt like they messed it up. Like it just didn't feel like. It felt like Chris Chibnall had never watched or seen any spy movies whatsoever, and just was going by what people think they are. Like
not even Austin Powers.
There was not even there was just some really kind of sort of silly things happening, but nothing that you could take seriously. And I just thought that they just really missed up on a great opportunity. It could have been. I'm not saying that we get an actual James Bond and Doctor Who working together kind of mashup, but it could have been a lot better than this.
Oh, exactly.
It's like every time Chris Chibnall tries to do comedy, it falls flat. It just feels very clunky.
Right, and it's kind of interesting because I know, people have always said, oh, James Bond is a Time Lord, blah, blah, blah. So, they could have played with something like that, they've had Time Lords in the Secret Service or something like that. Just, or even a passing remark of that, of some kind.
They could even had Pierce Brosnan do a walk-in just for a joke.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, that would have doubled their whole budget for the season. But
Probably.
but you know what? They could have, because Stephen Fry was playing C, they could have alluded to another division of MI6 without really getting into copyright territory. Sure, that would have been kind of fun. But moreover, the seriousness and the suspense and everything that makes good spy drama, they just didn't take seriously at all. And I felt it was, like I said, it was a real missed opportunity. I couldn't help but just think that it was all just kind of just light fare, there wasn't any stakes involved at all until it was too late. And I was like, I didn't really feel like the stakes that were there were kind of put on. That was in the second episode where we finally find out what the plan is. But I will say that, speaking of the other, because we got, before the season started, we got this news that Stephen Fry was going to be in an episode that was going to be cool. And that, what's his name? Lenny Henry, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was going to be in too. Now, I no idea who Lenny Henry is, but this guy impressed the heck out of me in this episode. He is so good as the big bad in this. I wish he got to do more, but when he's on screen, when he's acting alongside the Doctor, I thought it was top notch. I thought it was.
He killed his own mother in this one.
Yeah. He was kind of
dark.
he was kind of an Elon Musk kind of character.
Sure, you got that Elon Musk and
Musk,
Steve Jobs,
very
and
Google.
Yeah, this
Ford
whole
was obviously Google.
Sure. So you've got that whole thing, and it's kind of interesting. Said the plot is making us all into hard drives, which is like a really freaky idea. And
it's almost the same thing as the Matrix, though, dude.
Yeah, it is,
because the Matrix that humans were batteries instead.
Sure.
See,
it is.
There's a lot of this was repetitive, and that really started to bother me.
Yeah.
Bringing the Master back, but it's basically the John Sim Master.
Yeah.
Destroying Gallifrey again.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Well, we'll get into that in a sec. Before, they did the big reveal with O, did you know the Master was coming back?
Heck no.
No, I did not figure that out.
So I'm watching the episode, and on the plane, when O says oh, you're gonna, he's talking to the Doctor, he's like, oh, you still don't get it, or no, when he says I've been caught, and I was like, oh, I kind of figured he was working for them. I kind of figured because in the spy story, you're gonna have someone turn heel, right? You're gonna have someone be a double agent. And I'm thinking, okay, that didn't surprise me. And then when he's like, oh, come on, Doctor, you're going to get it. And then he says,
Spy Master.
When he says, yeah, the spy, I told you to look for the Spy Master and Spy Master. And then she goes, oh, and then she has a look on her face. And I was like, what, did I miss something? What does that mean? Spy?
It was very abrupt.
Then I thought about it. I was like, oh crap, this is the I had to it took me 30 seconds to a minute to process the fact that we were seeing a new Master, which I did not expect at all.
No.
And kudos to them for throwing that on us. Although the jury's still out for me as to whether or not this was a successful run as the Master.
Well, I like him yet don't like him because I miss Missy.
Yeah,
I love Missy.
Missy's in a category all around.
It's difficult to fill those heels, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, what I'm partly thinking is that this Master might be right after the John Sim Master. And he goes from being this Master to being Missy instead. That, this is in between. You never know what order they go in.
Right.
And he seems more like the John Sim one. And I really think the Capaldi Doctor got to Missy.
Possibly, because she kind of went good, kind of.
Yeah, but each one,
it was kind of open-ended.
And each time they regenerated, it's a different personality. Same with the Doctor. So, as much as Missy might have been turned, you could regenerate and become just bad again. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, certainly it would have been kind of nice to know a little bit more about the timeline as far as when this is. I did appreciate the fact that this is very much like a classic Roger Delgado master. This is not a new Who master. I mean, he's got a crazy sort of no-nonsense plan that it makes no sense whatsoever. He's shrinking people again, which I love.
That was a nice callback.
Even smaller. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny, actually. That was
And I loved when
it's
he
creepy too.
Oh,
like,
they actually showed it happen. You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
that
very creepy.
The one that made me laugh. Actually, I laughed out loud when I saw it. Was when he had the original O in the matchbox.
Sure.
And he just tossed it off over his shoulder, like.
Don't need this anymore.
I don't care.
Exactly.
I love that because that's one thing I thought was missing from Missy is that she wasn't like there were opportunities where I thought she should shrink people and she never did. So it was nice to see that was put in again. And I do like the actor. I do
Sasha
like
Dhawan,
Sasha Dhawan, right?
Yeah.
I think he's solid. I just saw him actually in the Stephen Moffat production of Dracula. That's aired.
I need to watch that still.
So he's in that as well. And, I mean, he's a solid actor. He's also in Iron Fist as well. I'm very different role in that.
Oh, that's why I
very different.
recognized him.
Yeah, very different role.
Yeah.
But good actor. But man, and so that's what's even more frustrating. When you see him in Iron Fist and you know what he's capable of, and then you see him in this and you're like, whoa. Like this is
it was too over the top.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I thought. It was too over the top.
It actually got a little better as it went along, but I was like, is the director standing behind you, telling you to John, sim it up, and I'm like, oh my god, don't listen to them.
Yeah, the scene when he was at the science fair, I thought that was a little way over the top. And I loved though that how Ava saved the day in that.
Oh, Ada went, here, have some grenades.
Ava was awesome, yeah.
Or shooting him with machine gun and stuff like that. And that was just so awesome. And then, of course, the doctor said when, he was on top of the Eiffel Tower, how's the shoulder?
Right.
When you've got this great dynamic between the doctor, Jodie, and Lenny Henry's character, Barton, and then you bring up this insane doctor. And to me, the sequence where they're on the Eiffel Tower top just didn't work for me. I just didn't feel the chemistry. Maybe the first time ever that I've had a master and doctor sequence where I just didn't feel the chemistry between them. And so that was, disappointing to me. And at the end of the first episode, when the master whispers to her, everything you think you know is a lie, I'm like, that is the worst phrase you could have ever said. I hate that phrase. I hate that phrase. Because that means they're going to do something that all us longtime fans are not going to like.
Yeah.
Well,
everything you know is a lie. I'm like, oh, what's Chris doing now? What's he going to change now? And I'm like, this is not going to be good. And then,
Well, exactly. And then him in interviews saying, whatever happens in this story is going to change Doctor Who forever. No, it's not.
Yeah, whatever. They always say that.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, it's not even. I'm sorry, but I can't. Please don't make me go through the whole destroying Gallifrey again.
Yeah. Actually, when I was watching it, he's like, who destroyed it? And I went, the War Doctor. It's like I did. And I'm like, no, that's not how it's supposed to work.
Well, actually, it would have been more intriguing if he said you did. But
right.
Anyway, I mean,
we just got it back.
I know,
right?
That's the thing. We just went through all that.
Yeah, it was just like again, and now we have the whole thing with the timeless child that was brought up at the beginning of last season.
Right. I was like, they actually kept going with that because that was only like a little snippet from last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, that kind of confused me. I do want to bring this up though, real quick. Before they revealed that it was the Master as the main villain, for a little bit when they showed, the glowing figures and everything, I was actually going, are they bringing back Omega? Because it's the same effect that they had, especially like in Arc of Infinity or the Three Doctors.
Mm-hmm.
With the characters. And it was just like, and then when Yaz went into that other world, I thought, oh, she's in the antimatter universe, not,
No, and they're called the Sovereign or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just thought they missed an opportunity there.
Oh, they totally missed an opportunity because they're just beside the point almost for the story. You don't learn anything about them or about their motivations or why they're really there or anything about the other universe other than like when I first saw the other universe, I'm like, oh, is that like the master or whoever it is shrinking them? And that's like threads from his pocket or something. What is that?
I thought it was DNA strands initially.
Yeah,
I thought it was a really bad shag carpet or something.
I mean, it didn't matter.
I'm a child of the 70s. Sorry,
Yeah.
Nothing about it.
Yeah. Well, actually, when they initially showed up on screen, their silhouette for their head, I was like, "Oh my God, they're glowing Teletubbies!" No.
Either that, or it was the Cybermen again from Army of Ghosts.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was. That's what
It
I
was
thought
just
it was
like
a callback to.
So it was just like, it was just crazy. And then, them, doing, attacking, or I thought it was cool when they were going through the door of the TARDIS. That was pretty awesome.
That was like, nobody's ever done that before. They have now.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, well, so much for the mystique of the TARDIS. They just blew that out the window.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't get in.
He got partially in.
Yeah, they got partially in.
But they didn't, but not all the way.
Yes.
So
But now we know laser shoes can take those guys out.
Apparently
so. It's okay.
so. Big pink laser shoes.
Sorry.
Little Graham with the soft shoe.
Exactly.
That was really...
No, they missed. Well, okay, I just got to say, they missed a total opportunity when they all walk out in tuxes. I was waiting for her to go, yeah, bow ties are cool.
Yeah.
They totally missed it. And yeah, and I liked, it was a little bit of an homage to Matt Smith's Doctor. With
with the long coat. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when she shows up in the other dimension and they sort of pan back and it's sort of this black and whitish, I'm like, she looked a lot like the first Doctor to me.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Well, actually, she looked a little like the second Doctor.
A little bit, except different tie. Yeah.
Different color hair, different sex.
Well,
it's okay, yeah.
And also, about when I was talking about repeating things, they also repeat Blink, basically, in the airplane scene. Because when she makes the tapes beforehand.
Oh, right. Yes.
Well, at least they actually went like, how did you do that? Oh, yeah, almost forgot I need to go back and do that.
Exactly. Thanks for the reminder.
I'm sorry, but that's a cheat. Because that's like, oh, well, the Doctor could do that every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, don't use that again. Like, that just makes it pretty silly that they don't just fix every time they get into a quandary, she's not supposed to have that much control over the TARDIS like that. At least not to my knowledge.
Well,
not to my liking.
Especially as long as that dude's had that plane, how would he have not noticed those nameplates on the floor?
Yeah. But they've been there all along since they installed it. Yeah. Looks like they changed the desktop of the TARDIS inside again, and I still don't like it.
I like that it has a little steam machine right there, putting out steam. But it's ugly as hell still.
Yeah, it's not my favorite TARDIS.
No.
And all through this, I'm watching Jodie, and damn it, she's just doing everything she can, right? This is, she's amazing. She's, I definitely, I said this last season, and I definitely can understand a lot of people when they say now that, that some of their favorite Doctors, unfortunately, are not, like the actors that play the Doctors are not in the seasons of the Doctor that they like, and this is like steering towards that for me as well. I mean, I think Jodie is amazing, but I think she deserves so much better.
Yeah. She lights up every scene she's in.
Yes.
I mean, even if it's clunky dialogue, I mean, she sells it every time. So I wish she had something better to work with. And I feel like I'm crapping on these episodes a lot. And there were parts that I really liked. I mean, I don't feel like it was a total disaster or the worst thing we've seen. But I just feel like it's not gelling. It's not coming together like I would like it to. And I think there's, relying on these old tropes or the clunky comedy is just, I mean, it really detracts from the core. I think there may be some good ideas there, but they are not gelling.
Yeah, and the point of Doctor Who, especially with New Who, is to really, talk about things that are happening now and in a way that is entertaining. And I think they're just missing a lot of opportunities. It's like they're bringing things up, but it just seems like it's just they're not really going in depth about it. They're just kind of, I don't know. I don't want to accuse them of just putting in like a minimal surface effort, but it really kind of, if you dig deeper into these, you're not going to get very far.
No, I agree with that. And that's the problem with it, is on a light side, it was very easy to watch. There wasn't any true groan moments in this, but there were quite a few of those last season.
One thing we do see is, and this was, I don't know, in some ways I thought it was interesting, and in other ways I was disappointed, but in a good story kind of way. So at the end of the episode, she goes to Gallifrey, she sees what's happened, she gets the stupidly convenient message from the master, and then she goes back, picks up her crew. Why she bothers, I don't know, but she picks them up, and now's the time, right? They're like, tell us who, we asked, tell us about yourself, da da da. She talks a little bit about the stuff that we've already known, of course, and then when they probe deeper, let's go there, whatever. She's like, nope, I just don't feel like it, whatever, and then she just goes on. Now, this is the first time, I think, during this run of the Doctor where the Doctor is keeping something from the companions in a negative way. And it does give Jodie's Doctor a little bit more depth in terms of the darkness of her. I don't think we've seen a dark side of Jodie yet. And it seems like this is starting that a little bit, which I think is kind of interesting. But on the other hand, I was just kind of frustrated. I'm like, it's bad enough that you treat these people like they're just, pets, but now you're not even going to like share this with them, because obviously this is something that's going to affect, going forward. And yet it's like, you don't have them involved. And I just was really disappointed in that decision.
Well, she made me treat them kind of like pets. But it's much better than what the Sixth Doctor did to one companion, where he almost literally choked her to death. Okay.
Well, that's true. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm not comparing apples to apples here. I'm just saying that, like, in this instance, I thought, it's bad enough that it doesn't seem like the Doctor or the people that make this show or anybody gives like the companions, the characters, any sort of confidence or recognition. And like, if they don't respect them, why should we?
Well, I wonder if it's a reaction to like Tennant's run and Eccleston's run, where Rose was the hero and a lot of emphasis was put on her, and then Donna and so forth, and Martha and so forth, that they were the real saviors all the time. And I think they wanted to change it up so that it wasn't so much focused on the companions like it was with those guys. And Claire, oh God, Claire.
Take deep breath. Take deep breath.
Breathe.
Breathe. It's okay. It's okay.
Impossible girl. Anyway.
She's gone. It's
She's
okay.
gone. I know.
You'll be okay. It's all right.
Anyway. But I think that was initially probably a reaction to, the other companions always being the savior for the Doctor.
Right. No, I completely agree with that.
You've got three of them, so it makes it like 3 times as bad.
I was just going to say, it would probably help a lot if they got rid of a couple of them.
Ram.
Yeah.
I would not, obviously if it was just the Doctor and Yaz, it would be probably ideal, I think. Because really, Ryan was really working my nerves in this story. I was just like, look, I get it that, that you're not like the most competent guy, but man, this is like, I'm surprised you're still alive, dude. Like, there's just some mistakes that you're making that it just, like, it's just so silly. Like,
well, and it's like when they're breaking into the building, he's just totally.
Oh, he's totally freaking out about the name.
In 5 seconds, the security would have come down and shot them if that was real.
Right.
Oh, it happens at Google all the time,
I mean, they're kind of making him out to be like he's like a special needs companion.
And he's not.
No.
He's not exactly special needs. He just has a lot of fear.
Yeah, but the thing is, the line, I can't even ride a bicycle, but I'm flying an airplane, It's just like, no, you're not. It's on autopilot, dude.
Right?
Right.
It's like, there was just like so many things that it was like, yeah, I could do without 3 companions. Yaz didn't do anything once again. And, Graham was Graham.
Yaz seemingly dies right in front of Ryan. Now, knowing Ryan, he should have a complete mental breakdown after that. Complete mental breakdown. Now, granted, he finds out pretty quickly that she's alive.
Mm-hmm.
And she's okay. But then, in order to comfort her, he says to her, she says, I thought I was dead. And he said, I would never let that happen. And I'm like, you did let that happen.
You just stood there.
History proves different, Ryan.
That rang so false to me, too. I was like, you have not done anything to give her confidence about that.
I mean, I wouldn't let you date my sister either.
No, they're both shallow characters. They'd be perfect together.
I just wanted to, at one point at the TV, I just wanted to scream, look, this is not how you do representation. You cannot just shove different people in there and say, ooh, look, we have different people now, so we have representation. No.
You got to have good characters along with the race.
Representation is developing diverse characters that have depth and nuance. Just real human beings.
Right. We fell more in love with Noor Khan, a real person, more than
yes, and Ada. I mean, the companions are just shoved into the story like a prop, and not even a good, useful prop. They're like the table or the chair. And it's like, no, give them real lives and something to do, or they should not be there.
Right, and they should add to the solution, whether it's on purpose, by accident, however it is. It should be pretty clear that if one of them, let alone all 3 of them, were not doing what they were doing, then the master wins, right? And yet the Doctor has to save them. Not once, but she has to literally go back in time and save their butts. Like it's just like fix it so that they don't die. I'm like, And after that would be okay season 1, but we're like, they've been traveling around with the Doc a while, so they should be not like confident in this, but enough that they know what they're doing a little bit. And I just didn't get that at all.
Well, I'm going to say it again. As I've said before, I still think Ryan's mom would have been a much better companion. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us. She had to die in the first episode. Damn it, she was much more interesting.
Jen, I'll dare say, like, a broom would be much better companion than these three.
Wow.
At least that would have a function and sweep up the floor.
Oh boy.
Oh, dear.
Wow, it's getting late, guys. Oh, man. I've got an early bus to catch tomorrow.
All right.
So,
I'm all spitting vinegar.
Anyway, wow. Wow.
I wish, Mike, and I hate to say it, I wish that I was as optimistic as you were by that this season is going to be a vast improvement over the last one. Because right now I see things that I liked, but not enough to give me confidence going into the next episode, I'm afraid.
I saw more that I liked in this than I didn't like.
Maybe once we get ones that aren't written by Chibnall.
Well, starting next week.
Yeah, maybe that'll help. But I don't want to be a Chibnall hater. I really don't. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
No, there's eras of Doctor Who I don't like, and so everyone has their tastes and such, and we'll see what happens. I'm hoping for good things. 6 weeks from now, you might not be hearing that from me, but that might be. I try to keep fairly optimistic.
Me too.
Sometimes. Oh yeah.
I wasn't going in wanting to hate this.
Oh, I know.
It just like as I was watching, I was like, "Ew."
It kind of just happened.
It's like I mean, I ordered the soup, and as I was eating it, I realized it just wasn't digesting well.
You're eating the soup, and you got to the bottom, and you realized it was full of flies. Got it.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, I understand. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where the season goes. I'm hoping for good things. Wondering what this, big mystery is going to be with the wonderful timeless child. I'm hoping not to be disappointed.
Are we putting anything on right now on like what that might be? Or just not even wanting to go there?
I don't want to go there. I really don't want to go there. After hearing, somebody saying, that it has something to do with the Doctor and, that possibly, there were more regenerations before Hartnell and, blah, blah, blah. This is not his first set of regenerations or some crap like that. And I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it wouldn't take much to make the Master go postal, but I do wonder, like, what is significant enough that would cause him to want to. I mean, because in the Time War, he fought for the Time Lords, right?
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
So, I mean, I think as much as he has, I don't know. Has he ever tried to destroy Gallifrey before?
I'm sure he has,
I know he doesn't. I know, like, I can't think of a story where he's done that. I know he doesn't like Earth. And I always thought that he didn't like Earth just because the Doctor did. And I know he's allied himself with a lot of other suspect races. And look, in like I said, in this, if you take one of the Roger Delgado plots, I mean, you could put like him right in this. I mean, it fits like that sort of master template to a T. Even the fact that, like, I mean, midway through, he almost, practically takes the mask off, like, whoop, like they're like, it's, oh my God, it's the Master. They basically did that story-wise. So, and I appreciated that. I appreciated the callback. I think people who love the classic Master are should dig this Master because he's very much in the classic mold.
Mm-hmm. I saw somebody on Facebook said, I can't get into this master. He's too attractive.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
I know. I know.
Not that John Sims was ugly.
Hideous.
Yeah, exactly.
Not really, folks. Don't send letters.
Yeah. But then there's some people say, oh, this is the worst version of the master I've ever seen. And I said, did you watch the Doctor Who movie? That's all I have to say.
This is not the worst version.
Yes.
No, I would not go that far. I would not say we're in the worst era of Doctor Who ever. I would not say that this is the worst master. I would certainly not say that Jodie's the worst Doctor. And as much as I've been piling on the companions, I would not say these are the worst companions.
No, definitely not. And to, comment on how the Doctor, wouldn't take the companions to Gallifrey. The Fourth Doctor did the same thing with Sarah. He actually even dropped her off in the wrong town because he had to go to Gallifrey.
Sure. No, I don't say that the Doctor's not. I mean, and look, I mean, 10 kept Gallifrey and all that stuff away from his companions as well. And I get it. There's a history of the Doctor keeping that stuff to herself. But I thought in this case, because I guess the companions are just so useless, that I thought at least, if they really are a fam, right? FAM, right? That's what she calls them.
Yeah.
If they really are her fam, then she would bring them in. Like, if this is the time where she says to them, ask me anything, right? Like, this is the time where she's going to come clean as about what she is and everything and who she is and all that. And instead she shuts the door within minutes. And I was just a little disappointed in that. I get it from a story perspective. I'm supposed to be frustrated by that. And I kind of think it adds to her character. Like I said, it gives her a little bit more darkness than we've seen from her character. And I think I like that. I think that I'm interested where that's going, but it was still disappointing.
No, agreed. It was interesting to see, maybe they'll ask her, what's your real name? Look at the time. Wow, I've got to go. So, but yeah, it's just interesting where they went with it. And I'm hoping, the one wish I will hope for the end, by the end of this season, I'd like to see at least one of the companions gone.
My hope is that she runs into River.
That wouldn't be bad. Or Captain Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that's that would be awesome.
We already know that we're seeing some familiar races this season. The Master was a big surprise. So that's already been one thing, another callback. I don't know. I'm kind of afraid that if Jim brings somebody in, they're just going to not do it right. So I just kind of let's leave that stuff alone.
River will be completely out of character or something.
You can't play with the adult toys until you show some responsibility, young man.
He's not ready for the grown-ups table quite yet.
So I don't know. I'm still, look, I'm still excited. I still want to see the next episode, et cetera, but I must say that I'm less excited than I'd like to be.
I think that's fair. I truly think that's fair. So, I think that goes with what we're going to do. Here's hoping that we're going to have some good stuff further and that it's going in a positive direction and not going to start going downhill even more so than some of us are hoping. But we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. Write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. Let's go ahead and rate this one, unless you have any final thoughts first.
Well, I'd say I will say that one thing I really liked about this was there was a much better balance in the sense that I felt like the Doctor really took command.
Oh yes, very much so.
And that I was cheering for throughout the whole thing. And Jodie did a fantastic job at it.
Mm-hmm. Hell, Jodie on the motorcycle is pretty darn awesome. So that was pretty cool. All right. So let's go ahead and rate 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Mr. Mike Gordon, you get to go first.
Between all the good and all the bad, I think everything just flattens out, even balances out. So it gets a 3.
Okay.
I will say that, and another thing to say that is a positive about it is that I thought that the cliffhanger was great. The resolution to it was not so great, but I thought the cliffhanger, I love cliffhangers. I love serialized Doctor Who, and I wish we'd see more two-parters and serials like that. So,
okay, that's totally fair. All right, Jen.
I'm also going to give it a 3. I also had parts that I liked and didn't like. I really wish we had gotten more time with Ada and Noor. But since A, they're real people and had to go back to their times, and B, they're not the real companions. Sad face.
Too bad.
I wish we got more time with them and a few other things. And I think the new master, we'll see where that goes. He did go a little over. I believe the term is chewed the scenery. He did that a few times. I agree, but overall a 3.
Okay. All right, and Mary.
Well, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5, and I'm adding the 0.5 because of Jodie's performance. But I still, I have very mixed feelings about it. It was so uneven, and I feel like Chris Chibnall is still trying to find his voice. This was better in some ways, but he needs to be more original, and I don't mean more original in a superficial way like last season. It seems like he wants change just for the sake of change, but the change has to serve the story. It needs to be well thought out and have depth and develop character, or else it's just not compelling enough to sustain interest. And it just felt like he was trying a lot of different things, and it didn't really gel for me. So I'm just kind of giving it a middling score of 3.5.
My big fear is that this is his voice.
Yeah, I could see that. I totally could see that.
What are you saying? I found it. I totally got this.
All right. Darn. I'm going to do a 4 on this one. I enjoyed it more than I disliked it. I was entertained. I've watched both episodes twice already and enjoyed. The cliffhanger was awesome. The cliffhanger was great. The Master's TARDIS as a big house, maybe not so. And, also it was interesting that, Jodie was able to break into the Master's TARDIS, pick the lock or whatever. And it's like, I don't think that kind of left me. And what did she end up doing with it? Type thing, so questions, of course, that, of course they thought, the people aren't smart enough to realize or ask or whatever. So take it for what you will, folks, but definitely.
I think that also means what the Master has been around since this Master in particular has been living on Earth since World War II.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, he said, I've been here. Can you imagine me being stuck here for 77 years?
Yep. So he was stuck there, and so that the other times that the Master came and tried to do stuff with the world, like he was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. all those unit adventures, everything,
Exactly.
He didn't take the chance to warn himself,
Right.
Don't try to bring that Damon back, or or the Autons. Really bad idea. Don't go after the Concorde. Come on.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. But yes, definitely I'll give it a solid 4. Lots of, for me to get to a 5, it needed to have a lot of improvement, but it was still enjoyable. It was fun to have Doctor Who back and not knowing what was going to come next. That was enjoyable and such. So definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. thank you guys for joining us this week. We will be back next week with Orphan 55. Should be very interesting to see. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jen, for being here.
No, thank you for having me again.
It's always great, and we'll talk to you again soon. We might have you back for the season wrap-up and just, see what you thought about the whole season since you were here at the beginning. Let's see what your thoughts are at the end.
Okay.
And, of course, Mr. Mike.
As always, it's my pleasure.
And Mary.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm very excited that we have New Who again.
It's still better than watching Trial of a Time Lord, so it's good. So, thanks, guys at home. We will see you here next time on Earth Station Who. Peace. And we're done.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
Live from Chickentown, this is the Flopcast, a podcast obsessed with comic books, Saturday morning cartoons, conventions, music, stuff from the 70s and 80s that nobody else remembers, and chickens. It'll be the silliest half hour of your week. You can find us at flopcast.net and on the ESO network.
I'm the mayor of Chickentown, and I approve this message.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.